Happy Advent. One of the words we typically associate with this season is preparation. We talk about being prepared. And of course, not just in the sense of gift buying or tree decorating or perhaps travel preparations, but in a spiritual sense also. But unlike preparations, let's say for Christmas Day, which we know arrives on December 25th, the gospel today urges us to be prepared with the idea that we do not know the day or hour of our Lord's arrival. Being prepared in this way takes on a quality, if you will, of ongoingness. In other words, we can't stop preparing. We must be always ready to encounter the Lord. This may be hard to get our heads around, but let's take a moment to understand what it means to be prepared in this spiritual sense. And what are we actually preparing for? The gospel tells us that the moment for which we are to be prepared is a pivotal moment, like the moment just before the great flood, just before Noah entered the ark. A moment of a great cataclysmic event where there is separation, where one group is saved and another perishes. The passage further emphasizes this point about separation. There'll be two in the field or at the grinding mill. One will be taken and one will be left. And what's more, there's a certain violence to this pivotal moment. The analogy of one's home being broken into by a thief makes that point. But what exactly is it that we're to be ever prepared for in this moment of separation where there is angst, and for some whom it's not going to be good? Well, the key to answering these questions is to consider that in Advent we are urged to reflect on not just one or two, but three comings of Jesus. The two we perhaps most commonly think of is Jesus having been born in Bethlehem, what we commemorate at Christmas. The second is the coming of Jesus at the end of time. But a very important third coming of Jesus is an intermediary coming. It is Jesus coming to us in so many ongoing ways. In the Word, for example, at Mass, in the true charity that we see in others around us, in the Blessed Sacrament, indeed all of the sacraments. This is the coming of Jesus into our lives personally, each day and throughout the day, for which we are to be ever prepared. The coming we want to recognize and relish in so that we don't experience the angst of separation from Him in the end. What does being prepared in this way look like? It looks like an ever-deepening faith, being drawn ever closer to Jesus in a daily, personal relationship of love. Part of this is evident in our moral life, how we live and treat others, how we treat ourselves. Paul, in the second reading, his way of expressing this is putting on the armor of light, living as we would be proud to live, not, as it were, in secret, in hiding, in darkness, guilty and ashamed of our behavior. Being prepared looks like a regular examination of our conscience, reflecting on what we've done to and for others, even strangers, and maybe sometimes more importantly, what we failed to do to and for others. Are we living in the light of Christ or in the darkness of sin? Are we aware of trying to live virtuously, humbly, honestly, chastely, charitably? Advent is about preparation. Preparation not merely for the commemoration of Jesus' birth in the past, and not just about preparation for his coming in the future at the end of time, which is all too easy to put off, but for being prepared for encountering him in the meantime, in our life, personally, here and now. Our participation in Mass right now is part of this preparation. One question we may ask ourselves, though, is there more that we still need to do? Amidst all our preparations this Advent, we may want to ask ourselves, have we planned to get to confession? Have we planned to spend more time before our Lord in adoration? Are we mindful of our readiness to meet him personally when he comes?